this, like, such a monumental level. Like, I don't want to do anything with you, you know. And I think
Yeah.
that's also one of the reasons why they're rushing it, because if they didn't end the Game of Thrones at a certain time frame,
Hmm.
they would not be able to sign the contract with Disney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it really backfired on them there. Really dropped the ball. But
They got one thing right, I must say. Do you remember the scene where Daenerys is like coming through the gate and there's like this dragon behind her, and you just see the framing is perfect. Just see the wings of the dragon opening just behind her. It's beautiful. Like, they got that right. Come on. That was epic.
yeah. Yeah. Yes, yeah. There were some beautiful shots in that series. And there have been in House of the Dragon too. I feel like whoever they've got the cinematography of it and the framing and the direction of those has been great. And you've got some stunning just views and shots from that show.
Yeah. Still talking about the ending of Game of Thrones, like we just mentioned how
Yeah.
bad it was. I'm surprised that in House of the Dragon, they are forcing so many connections. They keep saying the winter. I think they said once or twice the winter's coming. There's like a white menace coming from the north, something like that. So they're like in House of the Dragon, they are trying to create this tension or anticipation of the White Walkers that we now know are kind of lame, you know, like the final battle was kind
Yeah.
of, why they're doing that? Just get away from
Yeah.
this, you know.
Well, that's what was, I feel like, was so weird in the second season of House of the Dragon, where there were multiple times when they were talking about, and they specifically referenced the Song of Ice and Fire. They were saying that that was the story that had been passed down. And I just, I don't know, maybe it's referenced in the book. I'm not sure. But it just seems so weird and random and so forced in there. Same with then you have Damon, all of his visions that he's having. And then, like you said, the visions of the White Walkers. And then that's what I've seen all sorts of theories and conjecture now. It's like, well, is Damon having those visions? Does he become a White Walker? I'm like, I feel like we're reaching. I feel like that's not a thing. But they're not doing themselves any favors, because it does seem like they're trying to like push that and just go that way and really, like, I get it's in the same world and it's a prequel to it, but they're just really hitting you over the head with some of that, those aspects and those pieces.
Yeah, but it's a minor thing. I think if we've just leave this like minor thing aside, the House of the Dragon is great. I mean, the VFX, like, oh, dude, I watched the other day this making of this one scene. If you haven't watched the show, I'm sorry. I'm gonna spoil an episode for you. There's an episode where the Rhaenyra is looking for new dragon riders. Do you remember this episode? And she looks for
Yep.
people who might be blood related, but they're not very sure. And they gather all of those in the hall where they can try to tame a dragon. And well, what happens? I think almost all of them burn to death, and there's a breakdown VFX shot making of how they done this whole scene on YouTube, and gosh, it's amazing. Have you seen it?
I have not. I'll check that because I do seeing the behind the scenes, and some of the VFX stuff that they can do is insane. I think there's some places that just because of how rushed things get, that you notice it seems like things have been slipping a while, but I couldn't imagine doing that job. Like the attention to detail and then how much it gets picked apart by people is just an insane amount of pressure, and you have to be a perfectionist and so skilled in that role. And so I'll need to check that out because I always enjoy seeing those things.
Oh, it's great. I can't recommend enough. All right, Matt, I want to ask you something. From what I can see, you're a huge Mean Girls fan.
I I do enjoy the Mean Girls musical and the movie, but
So I don't know anything about it. I'm a new. What is Mean Girl? What is this?
okay. So Mean Girls is it was a movie back in I want to say early to mid 2000s. It was made as a movie, no music
Okay.
connection at all. By 2004 is when the movie came out.